I wanted to make a video for myself, honestly, and the many people that can relate to this. A lot of us were kids who grew up not knowing exactly the path that they wanted. We pursued opportunities that were presented to us and vigorously chased to go beyond where we started. But sometimes when you're in a season, you get so lost in that season that you forget it was just an opportunity and not necessarily a profound decision that you made. Like I said, I was one of those kids who grew up not knowing exactly what they wanted out of life. However, I knew what I wanted to feel, and I knew the lifestyle I wanted to embody. And coming into adulthood, there are a lot of factors that you don't see coming that are difficult to navigate. And no one can necessarily tell you how to do it. And even if they do, sometimes you have to go through the nitty-gritty in order to understand it fully for yourself. So a lot of my life has been spent in shaming, criticizing, and just judging myself for not being quote-unquote capable of making a decision and standing 10 toes down on it. One thing I've noticed in my adulthood is from every field that I've explored, there's a few that tugged at the strings of my heart that made me want to pursue that field, that career field, to the ends of it, to the farthest I can get into it, and I wanted to pursue it. Like previously, I was in banking, and I loved my job, but I wasn't perfect at it. But I was really good at it. I was really good at my job. And I was like, this is something that I can do, and I would love to pursue it to the point of becoming a CEO or even a chairman or a shareholder that has input in the decision making. And then there were actions that took place that brought me back home to myself. And I had to make a decision of whether to put myself in the corner and keep pursuing this job, or choose myself and have some self-respect and walk away from something that I loved even when it hurt. And it was painful, but I quickly made that decision to choose myself, and I walked away. And it took me what felt like about 8 months before I could get another job. And it wasn't because there was a limitation on work. No, people still needed workers. There were jobs that needed to be done. But it was because of the emotions and the hurt and the grief. I had to grieve that job. I had to grieve who I would have became with that job. I had to grieve the entitlement I felt having that certain type of job. I had to grieve the person I knew that I was becoming in order to just fit in well with that job and perform well. There was a lot of grieving. And because I loved it and surrendered my life's path to it, there was a lot of pain that came with it. And it started with a lot of blaming and pointing fingers. And I had to come home to myself and realize it was all me. Literally all of it was me. Other people just played their role well. But it began with me and it ended with me. So after spending that period of time grieving that job, I was able to find work in the healthcare field. Well, I kind of poured my last bit of income into pursuing certification so that I can get an opportunity in healthcare, which worked out perfectly. In recent months, or in light of the recent years, I was researching a lot about organ procurement, and I was really intrigued by that career field. There's a lot of things that would kind of break my heart, such as speaking to parents of newborns, or just parents in general who are grieving and are in shock of the experience they just went through, and having to ask them if they're willing to donate their children's organs to save another. And of course, pay is always limiting and to some extent. But it's funny, the only job I applied to within that company after I got my certification was in transplant. And so now I'm kind of getting an entry-level I'm getting an entry level into the field, but also I'm getting my feet wet to see if it's something I'm actually intrigued with and willing to pursue. And I was speaking to my boyfriend recently, and I'm like, I really enjoy the schedule I have. And the work would present its own challenges that will allow me to continue learning, and it would require me to be much more than who I will be after I graduate. And I was telling him, I'm noticing that I don't really have a concrete plan or goal as to what I want to pursue in terms of career. Rather, wherever I am, there I am. Meaning that whatever field I'm in, I work really hard and make the best of it and try to pursue it the farthest I can. And there was a book that he really enjoys this book, and he had recommended I read it, and it's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And I read the book, and it was a great book. I think I finished it in 2 days when time could permit it. And one thing, between the conversation with Napoleon and the devil, he asked the devil what are some of the tactics he uses to take people from his opposition and bring them into his realm. And the devil speaks of drifting, and there are many ways that he causes drifting to happen, such as daydreaming, wondrous thoughts, not having a clear decision, not making a decision and sticking to it and following through with it, right? So there are many things he talks about in terms of drifting. And so my boyfriend mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I do feel like I'm drifting through the course of life. And I don't have a finite goal that I want to reach. Rather, I feel like I'm presented with opportunities and I take advantage of those opportunities. But then that means I'm, in a sense, putting a piece of myself in the corner, because I begin to immerse myself with those opportunities and engage with them, and I become so consumed by them that I assume it was my finite decision, my finite goal, when it really isn't. I still want to pursue this course that I'm on right now, because there are many different fields I could delve into, and it could give me a leg up to attaining the lifestyle I want. However, it just made me think a little. What is it that I really want? Do I know what I want? Am I capable of knowing what I want if I'm constantly jumping from field to field? Or not even field to field, if I'm jumping at the first opportunity and taking advantage of it, without consideration of my finite goal and if it's gonna take me there. And as I was thinking about the conversation we had in depth today, it opened my eyes to a different perspective that I wasn't seeing earlier, because I figured that was it, right? But then I also considered that I like to define myself as a connoisseur of life or a student of life. And money would be great because money is a tool that allows you to attain pieces of you that you want, because money means freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of things of that nature, right? But I've always looked at me exploring different fields and different opportunities as a way to be more expansive, because within all these fields I'm learning new things, and in the process I'm discovering new aspects of me. And so at this ripe age of mine, I can talk to you about banking. I can talk to you about baking. I can talk to you about working in the back of a kitchen, or even working at warehouses. I can talk to you about working in a law firm. And now I can talk to you about healthcare, and not just in conversation, but be able to put those tools I've learned in practice. And I feel like that's a blessing, because it blends all those different opportunities that feel like me being scattered all over the place into the identity that I'm wanting to embody, meaning the connoisseur of life or the student of life. And so, in a way, it's such a blessing to live the life that I do live, but it's also nerve-wracking because we are taught to have concrete decisions, to have concrete knowing, but the beauty of life is in the unknown. The beauty of life is not knowing what's going to happen in the next second, but embracing it as it comes, right? And another thing that I've discovered through the process about myself is that I don't know if I like to really get my feet wet. I think I like to jump in and do what I can with the tools that I'm handed. Make the best decision that I can with the tools in front of me. If I jump into, like I enjoyed accounting, right? If I jump into accounting without knowing the overview of it, I can just show up fully instead of having preconceived notions of how it should be and how it should be presented. So I am at that point. Well, I feel like I made a decision this morning, and not this morning, but I feel like it has been solidified this morning. But this decision has been happening slowly over time, where I'm choosing to have faith in my life and in the path that I'm walking. Because how blessed am I to be born here today and be here in this moment, in this building. Where I was born, the trajectory of my life at that point gave no hints to the life that I have today. My story has so many twists and turns that there is no predicting how it's gonna work out. There's only living it and trusting it. And so I'm making a decision to have faith in my path, to have faith in my decisions and my walk of life, that whether my decisions are wrong or right, that between the wrong and right is opportunities of learning. And I want to embrace all the anxieties I have, embrace the worries, embrace the fears and the logistics that I want in my life, and this need for control and this need for decision and purpose. Embracing all of that, but no longer allowing it to be the control of my life. I welcome all of it, I do, and I want to hold space for it. And I want to hear them out, hear anxiety's thoughts, hear all the worries, hear all the logistics and all the planning. I want to sit with control and embrace the power that's in it, but not let it overcome me and take control of my life. I want to walk in a state of blissful peace and trust and faith that it's working out exactly as it should be. And I want to draw from the strengths and the weaknesses of these anxieties that I'm experiencing and these fears that I'm experiencing, rather than shaming them and shunning them. And so here I am yet at another crossroad, making another decision. And this time I don't care if it's wrong or right, but I look forward to discovering who I become in the process of this decision and how my life continues to unfold with this decision, and in the ways that I can reach out to people and be able to help them or receive help from them, or have this decision and opportunity create more curiosity within me that allows a flow of conversations with people that I never would have been able to converse with without this experience or this knowledge. And so this is the year of embracing, and I look forward to it completely and undoubtedly. So, bye.